Hello one and all, welcome back to another episode of From the Cinema. I'm your host Josh Rudolph, and today, even though it's close to the Christmas season, I decided to take a look at a film that I think that pretty much everyone should go out and see, and one that was just surprising in how amazing it was. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This film was directed by Marielle Heller and stars Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers and Matthew Rhys as Lloyd, who set on the task of going to interview Mr. Rogers for the magazine that he works for, but along the way he discovers a close personal relationship with Mr. Rogers that changes not only his professional life, but his personal life with his marriage with his wife and his child, and also with his relationship with his estranged father. I think one of the first things to know about this film is that this is not a biographical film about Mr. Rogers by any measure of it. Now, there was 2018's documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is all about Mr. Rogers' life. So if you want an experience like that, go check out that documentary because it is a beautiful documentary and is fantastically well made. I never grew up with Mr. Rogers, and I know that's a sin upon humanity to not have grown up with Mr. Rogers. I know I'm ashamed of myself too, but after watching that documentary, it made me gain a huge appreciation for who he was and what he did for not just like children, but also for like people in general, with his positivity and his good messages. Going into this film, I was really excited to see what Marielle was going to bring to the table with this story. She directed 2018's Can You Ever Forgive Me, that starred Melissa McCarthy. In that film, she perfectly balanced harsh drama with surprisingly lighthearted comedy to give an experience that was just fantastic. And she once again brings her A game with this film. Her direction of this film was just beautiful, and the balance of the drama and the comedy worked so well. Now, this film does lean much more into the drama territory, but when it goes to the comedy, it's so lighthearted and pure that it just brings a big smile to your face because of Tom Hanks' amazing performance. This film is not necessarily a movie about Mr. Rogers. This is more about Matthew Rhys' character and the journey that he goes on. He is the main character of the film, and it's more about the effect that Mr. Rogers had on his life and how much that their relationship changed his life for the better. Tom Hanks' Mr. Rogers is just a perfect casting. Tom Hanks once again brings his A game as he always does, and just he perfectly encapsulates who Mr. Rogers was with his mannerisms, his mood, and everything that he does. This is one of my favorite Tom Hanks performances easily. He does a fantastic job, and it was just absolutely beautiful. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen Matthew Rhys in anything before, but his performance in this was just amazing. The highs and lows that his character goes through, and the lighthearted moments to the darker moments he experiences was just fantastic, and he was a perfect casting choice. I really hope that he gets an Oscar nomination for his film, as well as Tom Hanks, and I hope that his career goes far and wide because of this film. He did an absolutely fantastic job. Now, the story I thought was a very interesting one to tell, because they could have gone with anything, but I really love that they chose this specific story to tell, and how much of a personal relationship it was with Mr. Rogers, and how much just that kind of interaction is able to change a person's life. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous in this film. There's kind of like a dream sequence where it's just done absolutely fantastic, and it somehow blends together reality with Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, like the show, and just the recreations of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It looks exactly like how it was filmed way back in the day, and it is just crazy the amount of detail that they went to in this film. Cinematography, sets, props, costume design, everything about this film on a technical level is done to perfection. They wanted to make sure that they did Mr. Rogers justice as well as his show, and it's just absolutely gorgeous to look at. There are several sequences in this film that kind of took my breath away as to really how they portrayed Lloyd's mental state and the emotions that he's going through. There's obviously the dream sequence, which was filled with so many startling emotions, and then there was a really amazing scene in a diner with Mr. Rogers and Lloyd, and just him confronting and realizing how many people actually love and care for him. It's done so well. He tells him to imagine of everyone that loves him, and then in Marielle's fantastic direction, she has everyone just kind of go completely silent, and the film just dead silence, and it even makes you reflect and think on yourself, and it is so beautifully done. And it was probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. I highly recommend that you go check out this film. I'm going to give A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood a 9 out of 10. It is one of the best films of the year. Tom Hanks brings his A game as well as Matthew Rhys. Both of them are amazing in this film, and they both deserve Oscar nominations. I love the story that it told. I love everything on a technical aspect. It is just a fantastic film. It will warm your heart. It will bring you to tears. It is a perfect film, and honestly, it's even a film that the whole family could go see. Yes, it's rated PG, PG, and yes, it may deal with harsher things, but I still think it's a good film to bring your kids to go see. They might not appreciate it as much, but I still think that it's worth it, and I really, really, really hope that you go check out this film. Alright, so that was my review of A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I hope that you all enjoyed it, and make sure to follow me and Mason Cable Network on all our social medias, and make sure to subscribe to Mason Cable Network so that way you can see new episodes each and every week. Alright, I'll see you next time.